Hello, I'm Bill Wasch. On today's edition of Seniors Living a Quality Life, we'll take a look at a variety of topics of interest to seniors and their families. In our first segment, we'll learn how some Connecticut communities are helping seniors stay more independent by providing them with door-to-door transportation services. Next, we'll learn more about the important work of senior advocacy organizations and how they are helping older adults around the state. Our inspirational segment takes us into the lives of several women who belong to a chapter of the Red Hat Society. This group of active seniors demonstrates the importance of friendship and taking time to have some fun. In our final segment, we'll find out why many seniors think voting is so important and how our strong voting numbers help give us a voice in legislative issues. All on this edition of Seniors Living a Quality Life. So stay with us. First up, we'll explore how several communities are making it easier for seniors to get around.
I am 81 and I live in Stratford. I've been there most of my life. I try to keep busy all day for medical or hairdresser or other important appointments. I call the Baldwin Center. They'll give me a ride. I usually call a week and a half to 2 weeks to make sure, and I have no trouble. But if it's really important and it's medical, they still fit you in, even if it's a week or a few days before.
Good morning, Mary. How are you today?
Good.
That's good.
Now, this service is good because they pick me up at the house and bring me home. If you have a little problem walking, yeah, the driver comes right out to the door. They're very helpful.
There you go. We're all set.
Yeah.
I retired about 4 years ago, and it's about 3.5 years I've been driving part-time here for the seniors. So you get to know the people. You know when they, how they're feeling. You can tell if it's a down day or something, and you just try and kind of talk with them and get them up to be, so they're smiling anyways for the day. Maybe it makes their day nice, it helps them along. They like to have you come because they like to talk. They're home alone, this way here they get out, they're with other people, and it makes their day nice. They say they can't wait for the bus sometimes because they want to get out.
I look forward to coming to the beauty shop. Yes, it makes me feel better.
Hi Mary, how are you?
Oh, it makes me feel real good because if it wasn't for the service, I would have to depend on my daughter or my sister, and I'd rather I didn't. I don't want to. I don't have to. I take the bus.
One of the most important things for people's mental and physical well-being at any age is to be able to get out and socialize, to interact with other people. I think our transportation service makes that possible for many individuals who would otherwise be homebound and would be isolated. The transportation program at Stratford has been in existence for over 20 years. The main focus is on medical transportation, but we also provide transportation for people to come to the center, to go shopping, to the hairdresser, and to run basic errands. The transportation program is run out of the Baldwin Center. That's where our dispatcher is located, and that's where we keep our buses and where the drivers report.
Hi, this is Carol Ann. What date and time? The main thing is scheduling, and what I do is I take their time, their date, and I see what's available for them on that day. We service anywhere from 30 to 35 people a day with 3 drivers driving. And that's about 10 people a driver.
People have to be 60 and over, or if they're younger, they have to be on Social Security disability. I think we have about over 300 unduplicated clients that we serve. Some of them use the service the maximum of twice a week. Some only use it once or twice a month.
I use the transportation from the Baldwin Center. He comes right to the door here, and it makes it convenient so that I can at least get out. My son here helps me into the bus. He has to get behind me and give me a little lift. After that, by holding on with both hands, there are rails on each side, I can get into the bus.
It's very important for me to have the transportation from the Baldwin Center, from the Stratford Senior Services. The main reason is I'm mentally disabled and I have to go to the doctor every month. But I think what's important is the people who they have driving are very cognizant of your problems, and they're very accommodating.
We're doing our once-a-week marketing. It's quite a distance away, and the bus takes us there, and we do all of our shopping for the week. And it's nice to be able to get out at least that once a week.
Transportation has always been a major concern for older people. As more and more people live longer and choose to stop driving, they really need to rely on a transportation program such as ours in order to get from point A to point B. It is probably one of the most important services that we offer through senior services.
This is a godsend, really, having the minibus to come and get us. Now that I'm 90, it has kind of caught up with me, and my legs aren't that good, so they just don't hold me as they did before.
It's a wonderful service. It helps me get out of the village here. Instead of spending your whole life in the village, you can get out.
Another organization helping seniors get where they need to go in Glastonbury is FISH, Friends in Service Here.
FISH started in Glastonbury in the mid-'70s. A woman out of her church decided to be able to help elderly people get to doctor's appointments, and then it just grew from there. We have about 80 drivers, all volunteers. Most of our drivers are retired because they're able to drive during the day.
Once a month, on the second Wednesday of each month, that's my day to volunteer. And I will pick up the clients and take them to their doctor's appointments or the hospitals, wherever they have to go.
Most of our clients are seniors. They need to be a Glastonbury resident, and we service probably about 1,100 Glastonbury residents per year. Because we have a great number of calls to service, we try to limit it to medical appointments only.
I call FISH and tell them that I have a doctor's appointment, or I have to go to the hospital, and they give me a ride.
I volunteer to drive because there was quite a need in Glastonbury. Dial-A-Ride does a very good job in town, but they don't go out of town. So they needed a service that would take the clients to doctors and hospitals out of town.
We are a nonprofit. We don't get any state or federal money. We don't ask for any money from our clients. Most of our money are from service clubs in Glastonbury, churches, and then private client donations.
The FISH program absolutely helps in this area. A lot of the people would never be able to get to their doctor's appointments if it wasn't for FISH.
They come into the doctor's building with me, and they sit in the waiting room and wait. They're very, very friendly, very, very nice. Excellent.
They appreciate it, and it just makes me feel good to know that I can help them. So many of them don't have families locally, and so they need help, and they're just so appreciative.
Now we'll take a look at the vital work being done by senior advocacy organizations around the state and how they are helping older adults.
I really can't say enough about the importance of having advocates for people who are vulnerable. It is very important to have someone speaking for you, to not create an adversary situation, but to speak on your behalf for what is your legitimate need.
In Connecticut, we're fortunate that there are a lot of different advocacy organizations. We have AARP, the Area Agencies on Aging, the Coalition on Aging, there's the Center for Medicare Advocacy. There are many, many groups out there that, on top of doing their day-to-day work, they're trying to send a message to the legislature and the governor about some of our key issues. The Connecticut Commission on Aging is the independent voice within state government for elders. I work at the discretion of a board of volunteers who are appointed by the governor and the legislative leadership. The Connecticut Commission on Aging gives elders a seat within state government, and that's really critical. We're able to testify before the legislature and talk about programs that we think really need to be enhanced and updated and modernized, and ones that we think aren't working so well. The Commission's activity for advocacy is beyond just going to the legislature and being a voice there. We hold public hearings, and we go to the communities to hear the concerns of older adults and answer some of their questions that they may have. It's always about access to health care, prescription drugs, property taxes, housing, their long-term care needs.
The Connecticut Coalition on Aging is an organization whose volunteer staff spends the majority of its time advocating for seniors at the Capitol.
Well, the Connecticut Coalition on Aging was founded about 28 years ago, and the idea was to both inform seniors about legislative issues that affect them and to advocate on their behalf at the state level, at the Capitol. The way in which we carry that out has been, first of all, to do an annual survey. Seniors, we generally get between 2,000 and 3,000 responses, and then we collate that and use that as the basis of our legislative advocacy.
Well, as always, one of our main priorities is prescription drugs, and people are really concerned about keeping ConPace, not having people be lost through changes in the way in which it's regulated.
Secondly, we write this up and make sure that every legislator at the Capitol does get a copy of the results of this survey showing these are the 3, 4, or 5 issues that are most important this year to your senior constituents.
One of the things we thought we might make a push for is provide tax credits for family caregivers.
Yes, and now that's a specific issue that comes up year after year, and I think if we just keep hammering at it, we might get somewhere.
One of the things that we do when we're here at the Capitol every week is to pay attention to which bills have been introduced that relate to our priorities, and we then prepare testimony and we can appear at a legislative hearing. I do write a legislative bulletin during the session, and it gets mailed out to all of our membership. Secondly, we sponsor educational forums, generally located at a senior center. The main thing is, again, encouraging people and letting them know how do they contact their legislators.
Probably the most recognized organization involved with advocacy work on behalf of seniors is the American Association of Retired Persons, or AARP.
With regard to senior organizations, AARP is the largest organization representing seniors in the country. In Connecticut, there's approximately 1.2 million seniors, and I'm using the term seniors to refer to people over the age of 50. A little bit over 50% of those people belong to AARP. We have 600,000 members in Connecticut. We have 35 million members nationally. One of the biggest things we do is try to represent senior issues both on the federal level and at the state capitol. We have paid staff that are lobbyists. We have a lot of volunteers that are grassroots volunteers that represent our members too at the Capitol. We don't support a particular political party. We do not support a particular candidate. We're totally nonpartisan, but we do support issues. And we do strongly advocate for the issues that we think affect our members and our members' families. And it's a terrible thing to have when you should be concentrating on your medical condition and building a support system around you to get through whatever medical problem you have. It's a horrible time to have to be sorting out whether you can even pay for what you need. AARP has a volunteer leadership structure in the state that help us set policy direction in the state and really strategize as to what are the programs that we're going to be working on.
People are concerned about general health. Where am I going to get my medication?
We want to be advocating what our members want us to do. We also constantly alert our members to what's going on, so we can be the voice of seniors at the Capitol.
The Center for Medicare Advocacy staff works with seniors and their families, specifically on Medicare coverage issues.
Good afternoon, Center for Medicare Advocacy. Can I help you?
The Center for Medicare Advocacy is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. We represent older people and people with with disabilities to help them get fair access to Medicare and the health care services that they need. People call the Center for Medicare Advocacy to find out what Medicare will cover. They know they need a certain kind of medical care, and they've been told that Medicare won't cover that. So they call here to find out either why Medicare has been denied or whether Medicare will cover.
I had a bone density test, and Medicare would not pay for it. And so I talked to other people, and they were having theirs paid for. And luckily, I became acquainted with a Medicare advocacy office. They had the know-how to find out that I was entitled to get my money back, so they did it for me.
Our appeal is based on the idea that these decisions shouldn't be made in secret.
We won the case after about 4 years. I just felt that it was a matter of justice. If other people were getting tests paid for, why couldn't I?
And we also do a large amount of litigation, community education speaking throughout the state and the United States. And we're called on very often by members of Congress to tell them what's happening to our clients.
Hi, Jim. This is Judy Stein. Can I speak with Senator Dodd, please?
Without our advocacy, literally thousands of people over the years would have gone without nursing home coverage, without home care provided, without the tests they need, without the drugs they need to take. And with the Center for Medicare Advocacy Services, we've been able to get millions of dollars in Medicare coverage that would otherwise have been denied.
Advocacy is critical, especially at a time when, on both the state and federal level, budgets are in such bad shape. There's a temptation to cut programs, and in Connecticut there are a lot of programs that are potentially threatened.
I think it's extremely important. I think a great many people are disillusioned or turned off saying, oh, how can I as an individual make a difference? I have heard legislators say, I hear from 5 constituents and that's a landslide. So that yes, any individual contact that people make is paid attention to, and we see the results when they come to vote.
I think the Connecticut Commission on Aging, with their associates in the field of aging, have made a tremendous difference, in part because we have really brought visibility to a lot of these issues.
So advocacy is incredibly important, and here in Connecticut we're very fortunate because we have a very tight network of people in the Elder Rights Network who work together to help people who are older and people with disabilities get what they need.
Fun and friendship are the theme for this local East Hartford chapter of the Red Hat Society, a women's group that boasts over 320,000 members worldwide, with over 300 chapters in Connecticut.
Oh, hi! How are you? Are you ready for our trip?
We're the Rambling Red Rowdies. I met all these wonderful ladies, and what I love about these ladies is they all were so close in school, but afterwards they loosened up and all got to know each other's families. They're very loving, they're very kind, and they're fun.
I saw an article in a magazine, and then I saw a blurb on television about the Red Hat Society. A lady in California wanted to wear a red hat and be an old woman and wear purple and just have fun. Sue Ellen, who started the group, chose the age of 50. 50 and over would be Red Hat Society members. And that's how it started. About the same time, 4 or 5 people I had known from elementary school contacted each other, and we got together and renewed our friendship.
Let's go. All right, we're leaving.
Lorraine heard about the Red Hat Society, and she says, we have to do this. So we all got involved, and it's been great because, you know, all these people I knew when I was teaching, and you were friends then, but it's like we're better friends now.
Women traditionally have always taken care of everybody else. And this is our chance to just have some fun for ourselves. We try to do a variety of things. Today we're going to a winery in Pomfret. We're going to have wine tasting and the luncheon and then a tour of the winery.
We look for new, interesting places to go to. We heard about this from friends. Lorraine and I coordinate, where we're going to do, where we're going to go each month. It gives you another outlet. We're just all friends and, we enjoy each other's company.
Enjoy your lunch. Oh, thank you.
No matter where we go, there's somebody who comes over and talks to us.
Well, I would love to be a red hat girl.
I like to have lots of fun, and this just adds to that. It brings another dimension to our lives in a way that involves other people.
My wife is one of the Red Hat retired teachers. When she started going, I started going along with because there were interesting things to do. They're a nice group to be with, and the thing I like about them is they're good times oriented.
Cheers. When you're working, you're so busy, so after we retired, we had the chance to get together, and it's been great. We cry each other's tears and laugh each other's laughs. It's just a wonderful feeling.
After your children are gone and you've retired, everyone thinks that they're going to sit in a chair. But we're not going to let that happen.
Here's to retirement.
Thank you.
Here's
to retirement.
Definitely. Healthy retirement.
Next up, we'll talk to some seniors about why voting is so important to them and explore how our strong voting numbers give us a voice in government.
I think voting is vitally important. Almost everything in one's life is affected by government and the governmental process, and it's just absolutely essential that people take part in it and vote.
I feel that voting is important because our form of government requires that we participate in it as citizens. And we're going to be choosing the leadership, and that's terribly important.
I think I've always voted, and we live in a very small town of about 1,800 people. I was a teacher for 32 years, and I felt it was important. It was part of it. As a role model for kids.
I voted since I registered when I was 21 years old. So I've been interested in politics ever since then, and the importance of getting the people in there that would represent the group that I live in, middle-class Americans.
Politicians pay attention to seniors because they know that they take their civic responsibilities seriously, and they're going to be watching what happens and voting in the elections. They're probably the most politically active group of any of the groups that are registered voters.
Older adults are tremendously involved in their towns and their communities, and that is key. Also, I think older adults are familiar and comfortable with contacting their legislators and the governor about some of their key concerns.
We have a lot of needs, particularly prescription drugs and healthcare needs and Social Security needs. And I think the candidates know that this is a real felt need. They would like to get the vote of the seniors. I'm glad they're seeking our vote because we have some input that way.
Seniors are generally considered a group that vote in a higher proportion than younger groups. Seniors can be counted on, and particularly when they've been long-term residents of a community and gotten to know their particular legislators, their representative, their senator. They are listened to, very definitely.
Seniors have time to listen and the time to read and do some research and not just take listen to a TV commercial and say, oh, well, that's what we want.
The senior voting bloc makes a significant difference in elections, and I think that's demonstrated by when you look at the debates on the issues. You'll see that it's Medicare, prescription drugs, property taxes being too high. It's these kind of things that really affect seniors, and for the most part, I think this is what gets discussed more than any other issue. As one gets older, you learn something new every day, and you can see the effects of various aspects of what legislation does for you or against you. And they figured at least if they got something in, then they would have something to work on.
I was a registrar voter for 17 years, and I've worked at the polls many times. I know the seniors are a very serious bloc, and they do show up. The fact that their vote counts and they know it counts means something to them. I think they're rather proud of it.
That ends this edition of Seniors Living a Quality Life. We hope you've enjoyed the show and that you've learned something along the way.
Okay, so we're going to do segment 3, Red Hat Society. Take 1 and action.
Fun and friendship are the theme for this local East Hartford chapter of the Red Hat Society, a women's group that boasts over 320,000 members worldwide with over 300 chapters in Connecticut.
Excellent. That was great. Okay, well that's it. We're done.
Oh, that's a wrap. Is that what you were trying to do? I'm sorry. Oh.
Okay, we'll do it one more time. Okay. Right. That's great. Okay, so let's do it one more time.
These phone numbers and websites can provide you with more information about the programs and services in this episode of Seniors Living a Quality Life. Or visit cptv.org. Seniors Living a Quality Life was made possible by the generous contribution of our presenting sponsor, Masonacare, with additional support from Qualidime, Kearns & Kearns of West Hartford, the Hartford Foundation for Public Giving, and Doncaster.
A production of CPTV Connecticut.